but I was hoping to play, but you know.
I did a song for that game. You know what I'm saying? For real, I did a song for that game. And so I should be playing it already, so I'm looking disappointed.
Have you played it at all?
Nah, but it looked good though. I like when you can, just take the gun and shoot in the face if you need to. Those parts is great. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you gotta do. So a quick introduction. Myself, I'm Raheem Jarbo, also known as Random, also known as Mega Ran. I'm a former teacher. Former teacher turned hip-hop musician, gamer, motivational speaker, nerd, and problem solver, and grammar cop. But thank you guys so much for coming out. So yeah, I'm gonna have the fellas to my left and right introduce themselves.
Alright, yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Hip-hop gamer from Brooklyn, New York. Originally East New York, you already know what it is. Sorry. Brooklyn! You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn! You already know, son. So, yeah, me, just to let you know how I got started, like, I love games. I've been playing games since I was 4 years old. My grandma got me involved in games. She was the best Tomb Raider player. She ended every Tomb Raider, even Angel of Darkness on PS2 that was garbage. But she ended all of them without the need of a strategy guide. So she made sure I played games when I was a kid growing up. And when I was 14, I just loved the expression of hip hop and music. So I just started writing music as well. So I just took hip hop and gaming, brought it together. I became a conduit and the voice of it. And everybody loved it because it's something that we always did. Now there's a medium for it. And my goal is to be the first black journalist on national television talking about games and what we do. So let's get it poppin'.
Mr. Alot.
I'm MC Frontalot. I invented the hungover on at PAX. Tradition which I'm firmly immersed in this year, as usual.
So you can't talk hip-hop and video games without talking about the beginning. As a former teacher, I like to go through the history a little bit. So we talk about the founding fathers. And if you've seen this panel before, hopefully you would know who that man is. That is Kool Herc. You guys familiar with Kool Herc?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Kool Herc, brief story on him. He came to the U.S. from Jamaica, came to the Bronx, and was the first ever to hold what are now what we consider hip-hop house parties. First DJ to play breaks and things like that, and to get the party going. And so he is widely credited as the founding father of hip-hop. So now you know, DJ Kool Herc. And you can't talk video games without this guy.
DJ Cool Image Transitions.
I learned a thing or two in 12th grade computer. Anybody know who this man is? Nolan Bushnell, founder of Atari, father of video games to a lot of people. Brief tidbit about his story, and I always tell this because it's awesome. He was the biggest Walt Disney fan. His lot in life was he thought to work for Walt Disney. He would apply every year, and he would get turned down every single year. So he came up with the brilliant idea to compete against Walt Disney, and he came up with the idea of Chuck E. Cheese. So he's like, I know what I can do, a rat and pizza, and who needs Mickey Mouse? You know, we can do this. And so he went head up, and I believe Chuck E. Cheese went bankrupt, but then I think they came back or something like that. Atari also, took his dips, and but I believe Nolan Bushnell is back in the game. So, the passion never dies. So, like that. Okay. I want to talk about hip-hop and gaming and some of the similarities. First, I'll start with hip-hop. Hip-hop started in the late 1970s. It is still very young. So it has a lot more, hopefully, a lot more potential, a lot more great things will occur. Because a lot of times when we think about how frustrating the hip-hop scene is, a lot of times, we have to remember that it's really young. Like it's the youngest form of music pretty much that there is that's respected on the grand scale. So, dismissed as a fad in the 1980s, it was something that was kind of considered rebel music. It was, kids, it was punk rock for kids who couldn't, play guitar and things like that. Gained some commercial popularity, lobbied against by Congress and conservatives, and is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. MC Frontalot, would you like to speculate on how many of these are similar to the video game genre?
I'm going to guess that entire column would be replicated under the heading video games.
Really? Well, let's find out. Probably a little sooner than the 1970s, but yeah, 70s. This is a fad. Pac-Man fever, that was my time. Quickly gained commercial popularity, lobbied against by a few conservatives, and is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. Correct. So, oh wait, sorry, I'm a little fast. I saw you about to take a photo. Let me go back. Do you need the photo? Wait.
All right. Instagram that right now.
Hip-hop gamer, looking at this list, do you feel, in general with hip-hop and video games, obviously we see the link in them and in the cultures.
Yeah.
You personally, you talked a little bit about the link that you feel is within hip-hop and video games. Do you ever feel that there'll be a day where these two can coexist in a, in a major positive way?
Yeah, I see it happening now. See, even though there's a lot of greed in this world, when you look at two industries that's multi-billion-dollar industries, when you put them together, it just makes bigger billions. You see what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people, like even on the hip-hop side, Russell Simmons attempted gaming, with WJ Rap Star. He sees the potential of how games reach people and the addiction of games, like how people really love it and spend a lot of time on it. And then there's a lot of people in gaming that's making music that's like, I knew NWA, I grew up on that, but they make games. So they always been trying to find a way to bring it together. One of the reasons why my name is Hip Hop Gamer is for that same exact reason. Because there's a shift I feel going on in the industry where everybody now is like, they want a piece of this and they want a piece of that. So how do you make it link? And that's why you see someone like an Eminem do the Call of Duty soundtrack. You see what I'm saying? Like, they understand the power and money talks. So you put it out there, so we put all that together. I think, now 2014 and beyond, I think you're really gonna see, like, on the radio. Like, I think you're gonna start hearing those type of things on the radio. I think you're gonna start seeing it more visual. You know what I'm saying? I think you'll see a PSP the next to a Beats Trade headset. Like, soon I see that them both coexisting just like that. So I really believe in it, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Nice. I can agree with you. I can see that. Now let's talk about the beginnings of hip-hop and video games. You talked about the money and money talks and how people saw it as a cash cow. In the 80s, there were a bunch of movies that focused around hip-hop culture, that Beat Street, Breaking, Wild Style.
Beat Street, Breaking.
I highly recommend anybody who hasn't seen it, go check out Wild Style and things like that, and Beat Street, Breaking. So when those things began to gain some popularity, video game companies decided, we're going to try to cash in. So they worked on this game here. You see these top-notch graphics. This is
To be fair though, that doesn't look that much worse than the movie Breaking was.
Wow.
Not too soon.
I get shots fired.
No, but I mean, you can see what he's doing there. He's popping, and I can make it out. So this is a game called Breakdance for Commodore 64 by Epix.
Classic.
And,
I feel like if I were designing a game that was to focus on bodies breakdancing, I would make the bodies take up a larger portion of the screen.
it's all about the buildings.
Yeah. They were most of the way through developing that game about washing the windows downtown. They just kind of threw in these dudes at the last minute. Like, breaking is big this year.
So I had to fast forward a whole lot to find the first time that I felt hip-hop and video games came together in a positive light, and it was one of my favorite games, and it was a game called Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah!
Day one? Oh man, I love Parappa, especially since it brought the MC to the forefront. A lot of times it was like, oh, let's just play some funky beats and have some gangsters.
Some real lyrics though.
But yeah, the lyrics, left a little bit to be desired. But the music was cute. It was a fun copy of those games. And, timing was really tough on it. I had a hard time with it. But yeah, it was one of my favorites because it introduced the MC, as I said, timing-based lyrics, blah, blah, blah. Where you come from. We talking about those lyrics. Bars. Hashtag. Bars. Where you come from. No. I want to talk about this thing here, Nerdcore Hip Hop, and this beautiful gentleman on the screen. I hear you know a thing or two about Nerdcore Hip Hop. So I'd like for you to explain to the people, what is Nerdcore? What is your relation to the word Nerdcore, if any?
Right. I put that phrase together for a song of the same title in the year 2000, which is now so long ago.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. That's like is that a generation? How much is years? And how many years is a
That's
generation?
more than a decade.
We get a generation that's what, 7 years now? In these
The kids grow up so fast these days.
But, you know,
those babies having babies.
17, I don't know.
Anyway, a lifetime ago. And now there's all these like talented folks making music, and they choose to call themselves nerdcore hip hop. And so it has gone from a thing I made up to point out that I'm a terrible person who should feel shame, into this thing people use to band together and avoid shame entirely. And I think that's great. The original idea is like you could kind of hide behind your computer and your internet connection and create music and present it to people without having to be cool enough to actually stand on the stage and demand their attention and insist that you were cool, which was something throughout hip-hop's history that was sort of mandatory. Like you had to present as well as create.
Right.
And I was like, oh well, I could do one of those two things. The first version of my website, the picture gallery was all pictures of famous rappers with their faces blurred out. Like a picture of Biggie, it was just like the little, registration dots covering, like very obvious who he was if you had ever heard of rap music before. It's like, here's MC Frontalot in a pensive moment between states. It's like, and the next one's Eminem, and the one after that's like Vanilla Ice. They just have their faces blurred out, but people still thought that was, I don't know, people had a lot of trouble parsing my website. But that was Nerdcore, I thought. Like, my website was, I had a website instead of a career. But then just sort of magically, or not magically, I guess, but through normal, non-supernatural means, a following amassed, and then I had to start having press photos like this thing. Boy, that's fancy looking, isn't it? I'm controlling the weather without even looking at it.
Rating.
Okay, so needless to say, you probably had no idea that Nerdcore would be even a thing that was still talked about 14 years later.
I did not think any of it would be anything other than my little funny name for my hobby. But then it turned into my career, and now it's lots of people's careers, and in a sense, a whole movement of kids who identify with that and want to contribute to it as a body of music, and that makes me extra super double happy.
Nice.
Nice.
Alright, so I found this cool. I thought this applied to our subject matter. But who doesn't like cute cats, right? But
Internet and
I'm going to go on and talk to Hip Hop Gamer about a little bit about what you do and how you do it. There is a lot of information here. I'm going to read this, and then you can feel free to go into from your own words. Gerard Hip Hop Gamer Williams is a video game journalist and hip hop artist. His passion and love of games inspired Hip Hop Gamer to create his flagship web show, the Hip Hop Gamer Show, where he merges the worlds of hip hop and gaming, being cutting-edge interviews and reviews.
Yo, real talk, I'm telling y'all right now, like I said before, my grandma's is my champion. You know what I'm saying? She passed away in 2010. So I used to make videos, like I was watching G4, right? And there was like a Game of the Year episode, Adam Sessler, and some other people, Kevin Pereira and all of them, they had the Game of the Year. I don't know what the game was, but they had a whole bunch of this, they had a long discussion about a lot of stuff. And I'm sitting at home, I'm like, yo, this is some bullshit. Fuck out of here. Like, what are you talking about, man? So I just said, thank God to YouTube, thank God to all these opportunities for somebody to have a voice. So I started speaking more from a gamer's perspective. perspective, because there's a lot of advertisers, you know, I know a lot of y'all know the Jeff Gerstmann situation where he got fired for telling the truth. You see what I'm saying, at GameSpot. So I was like, you know, I ain't gonna go work for a company, I'm gonna build my own. Ain't nobody firing me, I'm controlling shit. So that's like what my goal was. It's a certain demeanor. So when I started talking about games, you know, everybody was like, oh, okay, this is cool, but they didn't take me serious because where I come from in comparison to game journalism and the way I talk, they were like, wow, this guy got broken English, he shouldn't be here, this is journalism, this and that, blah, blah. So a lot of times people define you as names, and then I have to redefine them for something that I want, and then let people follow that, because it's more of a rebellious nature before the right attitude and a right positive message for everyone, because we all human, we all love stuff, bottom line. So when I brought hip-hop and gaming together, it seemed like gaming didn't accept hip-hop, and it seemed like hip-hop didn't accept gaming. So I was like, this is some bullshit, because if you go to a Microsoft event like Gears of War, you know, that's gaming, but they'll have Big Sean perform. So it's like, we're only good to perform, but we can't be a part of the culture? Fuck out of here, I don't like that. Excuse my language, but I'm passionate about this, y'all. So when I go to game, when I go to hip-hop and stuff, they don't really want to rock with gaming because they feel like, oh, I'm too cool for that. I ain't rock with that nerd stuff. Right? But then you home up there like, get over here and just playing with 2K all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you ain't in the streets hustling that hard if you're playing 2K all day. The game was the number one. The game rapper was the number one NBA 2K player at one point. Yeah. So I started to just look at it for what it was. And I love what this is. So in this picture right here, you see me on Hot 97. Now, I'm a gaming personality. You know, on Hot 97. Hot 97 is the biggest. That's the home of hip hop and R&B. If you know Biggie, you know Pac, you know Eminem, you know Pump, you know these people. They was born on Hot 97. That's where they got played first at, like that, in a big way. That's their breaking. And now gaming is there. You see what I'm saying? Because of a dream that I had. And now it's going into either, you know, deeper spaces, because now I just did a little partnership, you know, like I can't talk about everything like detail, but let's just say Shade 45, Vlad TV, This Is 50, like, you know, all these areas that don't cover games will now do it because of a dream that I had, and now a dream that we all can share and benefit from.
For the record, those are like the majority of the biggest hip-hop outlets, so, you know, we're breaking barriers. I feel like this stuff, and again, I just go back to it being so young, and that the potential is just limitless. Because a lot of these barriers are being broken down, so I definitely thank you for that. And that was a big reason why I wanted you to be a part of this panel, because I feel like your perspective is so unique, and you're literally out there, you know, in the front lines breaking down barriers.
And we gotta do a song together, man.
And we gotta do something.
Word up. Hell yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, he got balls for grip. You know what I'm saying? I'm my dude right here.
I'm alright. But I want to talk about, I guess, your, various challenges in doing what you do. You are probably considered a pretty controversial figure in the scene. So,
yeah.
So how do you deal with that? Do you feel like controversy, can propel your brand, or can hold it back, or with both? Like how are you able to spin those and work through the controversies that just tend to come up?
Well, in terms of controversy, I embrace it all the time. See, the things, I give you an example. One thing I love about journalism is, like, I give you an example. Shout out to my boy Greg Miller. You know what I'm saying? That's my dude over at IGN. But, you know, I'll be like battling with him too, like, because that's how you learn when you debate. Because you never know what another person's perspective is, even if you don't agree, you can still learn. So, there was this game, I think Mafia 2, and he said something about, like, the lip syncing was off or some other shit. And I was like, dude, I played this game more than you. Ain't nothing more than that lip syncing, stop lying. So I challenged him. And he was down for the challenge. And I was like, yo, I love this. And then all of a sudden, he wasn't down for the challenge. And I was like, IG must have said, look, you know, my game was coming up. He's doing some things, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be associated too much, you know, with that and stuff. And I'm like, I go against corporate big time because they don't understand the love, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you got a heart, it's a different type of feeling. Like, honestly, everybody that's in here right now, they're here not just because they want to get information and learn things, but it's a certain feeling of empowerment that make you feel like you can do anything in this world. And you got a lot of people that make you feel like you can't. And that's the mentality that we see a lot nowadays, and I think it's wrong. So the reason why I'm very controversial, because I like to, that's why I created this joint called Shots Fired, because it's a balance to the bullshit that we all experience, and it's not fair, and I don't like that shit. So that's why I attack it, and I attack it with intelligence. I attack it with facts and good debatable arguments, so we can learn from one another and build a bond that can be strong and a chain that can be strong. Another thing is, I appreciate that. And also, shots fired, you know that. And obviously, I'm black, you know what I'm saying? So I'm black.
Wait, whoa.
So, and obviously, I'm black. So it's like, I dealt with a lot of racism. I still deal with, a lot of racial shit now. And you know how you got like a lot of certain people that be like, oh, I ain't gonna name names and shit. No, I name names. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? This dude called me out. I'm naming names. So, like, in terms of like racial stuff and everything, like, I give you an example. I'm a partner. I'm a partner with PlayStation Home, on PS3. And I made content for them and everything like that. And it was all love. I've gone to every Sony event and everything like that. Like, this is what we do. You see me holding up the damn belt, you know what I'm saying, at E3 last year when they announced the price point and the fact that they wasn't going to do the DRM. And Microsoft was doing it. Like, it was crazy. Everybody know who I am. So, all this stuff is happening, right? So now PlayStation 4 is about to launch. I go to the event, and I didn't get the invite. So I'm like, I didn't get an invite to actually create content for y'all. I never did anything wrong. What's going on? So then this lady named Jennifer Clark, she's a part of the PR on Sony, and she runs all of that. Everybody knows me. I know all these people at Sony. So then she was like, she's not gonna let me in. I'm like, what you mean you're not gonna let me in? What I do? Like, so I'm saying, if you don't want me here, just tell me why. What's going on? So then Jennifer Clark sends an email saying this is specifically for international media and stuff like that. I'm like, oh really? It's specifically for international media. So one of my best friends, Black Bible, Game for the Nation, he's there. I'm seeing all these other people. These dudes are international. They don't even know another motherfucking language. You trying to tell me they're international? Get the hell out of here. So that's just a real life story about things that I've dealt with. And even in that situation, I love them, God bless them, and it's just another barrier for me to break down. So I don't want taking the hits, so y'all can be able to walk the doors a bit easier. Because I'm not selfish with gaming or this business. I look at it like Martin Luther King, you know what I'm saying? I take the hits for everybody so we all can live, and we all can eat, and we all can make it, and make money, and have fun with it. So, there we go.
Nice.
You know
This is Frontalot. Yes. We're also no stranger to controversy, rap beefs. Another, no, I'm just joking. But about gaming, we're just talking about corporate and that never-ending battle with corporations. Have you experienced anything in your years as the godfather of Nerdcore where you've had any type of brushing with corporate?
I'm white, so everyone just gives me everything, and I'm allowed to. Again and again. Doorman just points me right on in there. Is this for international?
Was this always at that event? He was probably at that like, hey, my baby. But
wait, what was the question?
Corporate brushings or attempts. Do you feel like Nerdcore is at the point, or even close to that area where corporations will begin to see a bit of dollar signs or even anything like that, novel or marketable about it to the point where they'll attempt to infiltrate, or has that even
the video game corporations have seen the value in what we do somewhat, especially with you, because Capcom came and made friends with you, and Xbox brought you around to rap for their Halo launch and stuff like that. They don't do that with me as much because of my hairline, I think. They don't want like a 40-year-old guy with a tiny tuft in the front encouraging the kids to play Titanfall.
I wouldn't mention Titanfall. It's not as good as they said.
I can't even begin to get into the console wars here. I think I lost a few friends and fans when I bought an Xbox One. So
I encourage everybody to get everything. But, you know, real recognizable.
Dude, I got like cursed out. I was like, hey guys, I'm playing my Xbox One. They're like, man, I thought you were a real gamer. You suck. You suck. I'll never listen to you again. Whoa.
Your choice of expensive leisure time activities and mine are slightly different.
So there's politics, religion, and game console. Three things you never want to discuss if you want to keep your friendship.
Keep that off the door.
Like, so what game console you got? Like, you know.
I went to console free play the other night.
Yeah.
And I tried to play a game, and I couldn't.
No.
They had
it's too difficult to me.
They had Rise, the stabbing game. I wanted to try it. I never played one of the new consoles yet, and I took it over there and tried to put it in the thing, and it's like, F you, there's no internet. The other one, put it in there, it's like, I have a little bit of internet, but you will have to download 5 gigabytes before you can press the button that makes it go.
Oh, wow.
There was only like a half hour left, and it was doing about 1% every 15 minutes. And I was like, man. So I failed. I tried to play one of these fancy new boxes, and I failed to play a video game. And do you know how that made me feel?
Now we all feel
terrible.
Not like a capable person. I used to be good. It's like sometimes I'm good at video games, but I thought I was at least good at playing a video, like being able to play a video game. A very base level of gaming skill.
Yeah, now you gotta account for that time when you buy a new game. You're like, all right, I'm gonna pop this game in. I'm gonna go make my dinner while the 5 gig update starts. That's my life anyway. At least as an Xbox owner, I'm not making it sound too good. So I'm gonna be quiet. But anyway, moving on. I'm gonna go through a short timeline of hip hop and gaming meetings, and have you guys alternate on some comments on each one. We can go with a thumbs up or thumbs down. In 2000, Activision partnered with the Wu-Tang Clan for a game called Wu-Tang Shaolin Style.
For the children!
Did you play this game?
Yeah, I played this game. Like, let me tell you, so I was like, real talk, when I was a kid, I'm broke, dog. I got no money, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was trying to play everything I could. I went to friends' houses, I did everything I could to play games, so it was that serious.
Wu-Tang Shaolin Style was a fun game. I like the fact that if you put the game into a CD player, it had bonus Wu-Tang songs, yeah. And it was a really violent game. I remember it was the game was Thrill Kill that had got canceled. It was a really violent game. Yeah. So they slapped some Wu-Tang faces on it and made a bunch of money. Activision knows what they can do about making a bunch of money. So, so did you play Wu-Tang Shaolin Style, friend?
What was it for?
PlayStation 1?
No, I didn't have one.
You didn't have PlayStation 1? What? Final Fantasy 7 up your side.
Final Fantasy 7 is still one of the best RPGs ever made. Like, hands down.
I was a Commodore 64 gamer, and then I was a PC gamer. I never had a console until I got a used PlayStation 2 so that I could play San Andreas.
Oh, we're nice. I respect that.
All right, EA releases Def Jam Vendetta for console starting in 2003.
You already know, son.
This game was amazing. I loved it. It was you did.
Oh yeah.
It was based off like the best wrestling game engine ever, the THQ engine that they used for WCW.
All your favorite rappers beating each other.
So yeah, you had your favorite rappers power driving each other. It was great. I remember reading an interview with I always say this one with Redman, and he was saying that he wanted his special move to be called 100 Bitches. And they were like, well, what would it be? And he was like, no, I would just like knock you down in the ring, and then 100 bitches would come and snap. And he's like, but they couldn't handle it. The game, like the game would break. That's my favorite Def Jam story. But it was a fun game. They made a bunch of Def Jams. They made
It was Fight for New York.
Fight for New York.
And then when they came out with Icon, there's a reason why we didn't see another Def Jam game after that.
MC Frontalot appears in the first Penny Arcade Expo in 2004 and everyone since.
That's
a lot of Penny Arcade Expos. amazing. And I think that's another huge step for hip hop and gaming. We can rest assured that there will be some hip hop at every PAX, which is awesome.
Definitely.
Capcom granted an exclusive licensing agreement to some guy in 2007. Okay, some guy was me. I made an album called Mega Ran, and it was sampling the Mega Man soundtrack. I was very afraid of getting Capcom's attention. I did not want to do that, but in the hip hop way of doing things, you just do it, and then you can apologize later. You can always say you didn't know. I didn't know I couldn't steal your stuff.
Just to piggyback on what you're saying, like my man Jack Thurlow, who's my new co-host on our gaming show, he's a G-Unit comedian, but one of his slogans is, we don't ask for permission, we ask for forgiveness. So just do that shit.
That's the hip hop way. We sample, we do things, and then we're like, oh, sorry, my bad. But
my bad.
So my bad. Absolutely. So Capcom emailed me. This is in the MySpace days, which many of you probably have no idea about.
Oh God.
But they messaged me on MySpace. Big old Capcom, and I was like, oh boy. And they're like, hey guy, the subject was about your Mega Man project, and I was like, oh shit. But so they're like, hey, we heard this Mega Man project you did, and I'm like, you did? Oh man. And they skip a bunch of lines. I think they were just trying to do it for dramatic effect. So afterwards, after like 7 line skips, it's like, we love it, smiley face. And I was like, oh cool. And they're like, don't worry, this isn't a cease and desist. So I have to thank a guy who's no longer with Capcom, Seth Killian, who's going on to do a lot of Seth saved my life, and I mean that literally, because they could have sued the pants off me, and you would never hear me. But he was cool enough and forward-thinking enough to, as leader of Capcom Unity, to shine a light on what he considered fan art. And so they invited me out to Comic-Con. We had a lot of great talks, and since then I have been officially licensed by Capcom, which is awesome.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Legit, I can steal and not get in trouble. Timbaland jacks a beat from Finnish chiptune musician Johnny Suni for a Nelly Furtado hit. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but this is a pretty great story.
Chiptunes people were mad about this.
Oh, they still are. This is part of the reason why I'm like one of the sole representatives of like the hip hop and chiptune thing, or chip hop as they call it.
Chip hop.
Yeah. Chip hop, like when you rap using beats that are like chiptune, 8-bit sound. Okay, that's what I do a lot of that. So I play chiptune festivals, and they have a no love for rap, and it's usually because of Timbaland. Because when they asked him about it, he was like, it was some game, whatever. And they're like, but you stole it. It's like, it was some stupid game. So like his response was like, this isn't important enough for you to care about. What's important is I made a hit, and it's Nelly Furtado, so shake your butt. So, but they did not. Who's clapping for that? Stealing. See, I just talked about stealing, and this is the teacher in me.
What did happen with that?
So I think they settled out of court. They probably gave more money than they've ever seen. I don't know if anyone's here representing or a chip musician in any way, but I hang around a lot of them, and they don't seem to want anyone to find their music. I think it's this elusiveness in the scene. It's like, if you're in the know, you'll find out. And they're not about being stars or celebrities, but they're making some of the most creative and impressive technical music. And you're going to see more and more chiptune in popular music come, and it's happening already. So it's settled out of court. People hate Timbaland, and that's kind of the end of that story. 50 Cent. 50. It's a video game called Bulletproof in 2005, and a 2009 sequel, I think it was called like Blood in the Sand. I played that first game. I liked it a lot. It was like, I think it had like a Max Payne kind of thing going on it. Yeah, it was, I think it had bullet time or something. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to use 50 Cent and shoot bad guys? Like,
that's what he does in real life.
Well, he's not,
anymore.
What's he doing? What's he pushing now? He's got the headphones.
Got the audio, you got the SK, you got the boxing promotions.
A constant entrepreneur, constant. It is 3:12, so I know that we're done in 18 minutes. So if you do have questions, I would like for you guys to just kind of line up. I'm going to go through this a little bit faster. Supercomputer refers to their music as hip hop, the first time that the term is used.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really? That was the first time I heard the term, and that was when I heard supercomputer. They described as one of the genre tags.
I'm learning that.
Amazing music, so go check that out if you can. Samurai Champloo, Sidetracks. Oh man, Samurai Champloo, one of the greatest, series. The music's amazing. Nujabes, who passed away, an amazing producer from Japan, and Fat John did all the music, so I highly recommend checking out Champloo if you ever can. The video game came out on PlayStation 2, and so go and check that out if you can. I think that was another win for hip hop and gaming. Activision releases a game called DJ Hero in 2009.
Yep. Jay-Z Eminem edition.
Right, they did the Jay-Z Eminem edition, the Renegade edition or whatever.
Never been afraid to say what's on my mind at any given time of day.
So they know a thing or two about partnerships and making money, as I was saying. So yeah, there was DJ Hero. You ever played DJ Hero?
No, is it fun?
Yeah. It's hard.
Is that the one? Is that the one?
Nice.
Crazy. Is that the one with the dedicated large hardware with the turntables?
Yeah, but it's really dope. It's really dope. And it's cool to get to play out your favorite DJ's remixes. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Nice. They made a couple sequels of that one. Def Jam Rap Star came out a few years ago. I don't know if anybody played
That's a fun family game, real talk. You know what I'm saying?
It was karaoke, but it's hard.
It was all a dream.
When you say family, ironically, they have I think they're like uncut versions of the songs in it. So yeah, not all the way from family, but it's fun though to be able to live out your. They have like they have Pac, they have not just Def Jam guys. So I thought that was cool. That's another fun one to try for the kids. My favorite, the Black Eyed Peas Experience. This is on Wii and Xbox 360 in 2011. Has anybody played that at all?
Well,
you got it? Is it good?
Hell no.
Experience is the key.
Black Eyed Peas is more pop than hip hop, though, man. I can't really rock with that.
Still wasn't that good even.
Yeah, it still wasn't that good. Yeah, you're right. Man.
The whole game is just grinding for experience points.
That's an example of someone just trying to take advantage of the culture and not actually add to the culture. That's the way I feel about that.
You mean the band, the Black Eyed Peas? Or do you mean the game?
Shots fired!
Hey, Will.i.am is my favorite MC. So
no, he's not.
No, he's not. He's an amazing producer, though.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely amazing. All right, Activision again partners with Eminem to create a song for Call of Duty Ghosts in 2013. They made the song like an exclusive, like a pre-order thing. They did really well with with the cross promotion. It was Eminem's first album in like 5 years. So again, Activision on the pulse of what makes money and making that happen. So I think that's the most recent one. Oh, and Random, aka Mega Ran, plays PAX Prime in 2013.
Amazing.
That was awesome. I definitely will
hold
that up as one of my career highlights to be able to play on the PAX stage. It was a lot of fun. Fun story about that is that it was like an all Mega Man night. It was myself, Big Brigade, and the Protoman that played that night. And right before I went on, the stage manager, who's always cracking jokes, he's like, "So, have a good show, man." I was like, "Thanks." And he's like, "Oh yeah, Kichi and Afune's up in the front row. Have fun." And I was like, wait, what? So, for those who don't know, Inafune created Mega Man. He's like my hero, and he was right in the front row. And I had a few extra beads of sweat that night, but it went really well. I got a chance to meet him afterwards, and through his translator told me that he loves the music, and I'm looking forward to Mighty Number 9. I don't know about you.
Can I add something to that? Let's because you got some historic stuff on that list.
All right.
Now, two things. One, 2012's Twisted Metal that David Jaffe put out. I actually did a soundtrack to that too. So when you finish the game, right after Rob Zombie plays, you hear Hip Hop Gamer song on Twisted Metal, and I performed it at Webster Hall in New York. Crazy, son. I had everybody going crazy. Like, what? Throwing their middle fingers up. It was crazy. And
that's a sign of approval in hip hop.
And that's crazy right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and then there's a game called Infamous Second Son. I hope you guys love that game. Like, you got a chance to play it on the PS4. But I'm actually working on a song for that, and I wanted to share something with y'all, just real quick, if y'all get in mind. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yo, my time is now on a mission just to get it, so you gotta feel the way that I go hard. These bars are a problem, don't try to solve it. One shot smokes with the revolve. This song is a message not to be messed with. Second son, singing it with the death wish. Bow down to the best, get best one. Second and done, the second son. Rise up with the best and don't infamous. That's the way that we gotta be. Spit my life all up in these streets, from the bottom to the top. Motherfucker gotta eat now. Watch me roll, watch me rise. Put your hands up if you wanna get shot one time for the brothers. Everybody gotta feel this in the phone with the most to the killing and get into this and be infamous. Whoa!
This time, if you have any questions, my word question will go off the screen.
I have a question. Did Clippy help you with this presentation?
Yes. How did you know? So anyway, we're gonna end with that. But I don't know if you know the screen comes up too. But anyway, though, if you have any questions, come on up, step on up to the microphone. Let's speak your piece. Also, cheap plug, there is a performance going on tomorrow night with myself, MC Frontalot, The World is Square, and many more at a place called Great Scott. Come on out and see that. There should be flyers around. This gentleman has more.
I think it's
also, if you're interested in any merchandise, I brought a whole lot of stuff. The least or the less that I take back home, then I don't have to pay as much in baggage fees. So I have CDs, shirts, and posters over here. So if you're interested, help you out with that. Now, questions.
Hello?
Okay.
Hey.
I have a question for Hip Hop Gamer about starting your own platform or trying to get when it seems to be kind of hard to get through the door for the traditional gaming press.
Right.
Is it just always your advantage to create your own platform? Do you think that, because I'm just speaking as someone that I find it easier, let's say, to get stuff written, put out by Vice or by some non-gaming thing, all games.
Well, one of the things that I found effective is, so you got the majors and IGNs and stuff like that. I don't go that route at all, alright? What I actually did, and I'm not saying it's going to work for you, but I know it could work. So I'm just trying to speak from a fact. But you got like a lot of websites, like Dual Shoppers, I'll give you an example. They're not considered the major, but they upper end like a mother, like you know what I'm saying, they're real big. So they are looking for new people. So you gotta kind of find people that are looking for what you already have or what you're doing, and then you'll get access to E3, you get access to all these places. The moment you get there, that's the best time to network and connect with the right people. Because then they'll see your stuff like, yo, I need that, this is crazy. Never sell yourself short. You know what I'm saying? They actually need you to really make their content shit hot. You see what I'm saying? So I would say, just like being at PAX, associate yourself with the people that need what you have. And then you get a working relationship with those people, and they'll take you further with your craft, and then the world get a chance to see it more. And once they see it and it's consistent, then you have your own position in this industry. Then you're able to do whatever the hell you want. That's all. Holla at that.
Kind of a two-part question. One is, you heard the Punch-Out song with Static Select and Big Sugar.
Yo, Static Selected is my boom, son.
Yeah, if you heard that, and I guess you have. The second part is, do you want to hear that at PAX East live as badly as I do?
Oh,
that would be amazing.
That would be crazy.
Those who haven't heard it, it's basically like the leader of one of the guys, like the original Gangstar Foundation members, like talking about firearms over the Punch-Out.
Oh wow!
It's ridiculous.
It's an awesome track.
It's great.
So yeah, Google that or make a note of that if you can and check it out. It's a guy named Big Shook. It's Punch Out.
It would probably just
really
confuse the
awesome.
hell out of people here.
Yeah.
I just want to see that. I just want to see people.
But it's fun. But yeah, don't be scared.
Also, just on another unrelated note, it's dope to know that Hot 97 is a gaming person now. I did not know that. So.
Yeah, so thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man. Stay tuned, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. Seriously.
No problem.
As a child of hip hop and gaming in general, and also urban environments, I've always found it difficult to do anything but console games or arcade games. I understand there's a lower bar of entry, so you go to your bodega and challenge somebody in Street Fighter, but I've always been a PC head. I didn't get a console until I was much older. And it's awkward, trying to get into games like League of Legends and other, high platform, PC games and not see other hip hop fans, other people of color. Are you making any efforts to help integrate that specifically for you, hip hop gamer? I mean, I hear mostly that you're a console guy, you work for Sony and stuff, but do you do anything?
No. I don't work for Sony. I work with this.
My apologies. After the Xbox One a little more you had up, right? It sounded like you were for Sony. It sounded like you were saying Nintendo and Sega does.
Oh, no. I'm not doing everything, but, PS4 is my preferred. Yeah.
So on that front, well, what do you think you can do to get, more urban-centric gamers into PC gaming?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason why a lot of more urban-centric gamers aren't really into it because PC is not really mainstream. Because a lot of times when you really get the most out of PC, you got to build your grid and stuff like that. So what I'm actually trying to do right now, I'm real good with Razer, and I actually want to talk to them today if I can. But I wanted to tell Razer that, hey, look, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. I think we should come together. I have a lot of outlets now, and people that watch me. Let's do something more PC oriented. Because there's companies and there's people that want to get involved in it, but sometimes they just don't know how, or they may be intimidated. So it takes that one person to step out, and I'm willing to do that.
It's one of those things where you go to an MLG event and you see, like, League of Legends, it currently has one black gamer, I think.
Yeah, see, that's the same thing you just said.
Yeah.
Now, in game journalism, right, I have the same problem that you're talking about right now. But look at me now, sitting up here with y'all. You see what I'm saying? They got to give a damn, we gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So what I would suggest is, whether in your community and things that I'm trying to do, partner with the people that are in control of getting those particular devices, and then you take those devices to your own areas and show it to your own people. And when you show Razer that you can create a community that wants your shit, now they take you seriously and give you everything you want. And now then you'll see more of a not see black urban, but you see more of a black community, you know what I'm saying, within that space. But sometimes it takes a voice from us to make it happen, because it's not going to happen by itself.
Thank you.
No doubt, dog.
Thank you so much. Sure.
My name's Gary.
What's up, G?
My stage name's Mission Man. I've actually been rapping for about 22 years.
Oh! Spit some shit right now. You say you're rapping, spit some shit right now. Do it! What's up?
Do it!
Do it now!
Doing what you love may seem out of reach. Trees are not teached in the rhetoric of lesson plans. That's why we need to lend a hand. If you love to sing, just do your thing. Step up, grab the mic, forget about the stage fright and strings. Like, if you think because you love it, then the audience will know. And it's obvious you grow as you take deep breaths and you make a step. Just small than the one before. Until you can step up and knock on the door. Get your foot in as soon as the door opens. Don't waste moments, hope it never closes. And you're not alive. Just do your thing because it is no try. No matter what you love, just go out and do it. Don't let other people screw with your plans and your dreams. Your hands as they see. Like they're losing the strength to hang on. Just do what you love. You'll always stay strong.
Wow, it's totally on the spot. You came through, man. I love the message. I love the flow too, man. Oh, you have a question?
That was the beginning of my question.
All right.
I've also made a couple of games on my own. One you can play on Facebook, and one's kind of like it looks like a 16-bit game you would have played on the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis. It's kind of a role-playing game based around my music. But my question is, with the combining of hip-hop and music, how do I get my music in games, or how do are there avenues that make it easier for the gaming community to get together with the hip-hop community, and how can we get that?
Can I it's a tough one. It really is. 'Cause there's no really no win on it. But part of it is probably taking a combination of what I do and what Hip Hop Gamer does. Get out to events, shake hands, get to know people, pass off a lot of music, build your brand, build your your musical, your network. Make sure your music is quality, of course. And work with some top-notch, not just producers or other artists, but mixing and mastering and things like that. Make sure your stuff is ready to go, and just get to know a lot of people and make sure that they all know. The persistence part, I would say, definitely from Hip Hop Gamer, stay persistent, knock on the doors, emails, and just work on it. But I would also say try to avoid, the cliche route, or if you know a game is about a certain thing and then rapping about that certain thing. I mean, things like that isn't always going to work. So I would say just stay open-minded and well-rounded, and just make sure your stuff is super slick and ready to go. Make sure it's tight and undeniable. And it's such a hard and weird thing to say.
I got something else to add. I'm sorry, but I got something else to add. One of the best things you do right now, like tonight, you're serious about this shit, tonight, this is what I would tell you. ReverbNation.com. Right? When you go to ReverbNation.com, the moment you sign up, what they do is almost every day or every 2 days, they send you opportunity. So they'll say, hey, look, we're having this thing in Phoenix. It's free, just show up. And anybody in music, will be there. And what you have to understand is that a lot of people that you see doing video game soundtracks right now, like my man Michael Omalo, I just did an interview with him, right? This dude did this soundtrack to Strider, okay? But his background is hip-hop and rock and roll and stuff like that. He's done music already. So that's the type of person that will go to these festivals. And in the game industry, they look for people in the music industry to cross over and do that. So when you if you sign up with Reverb Nation right now, they'll send you daily things to meet those type of people for free. All right? So you want to do that shit like ASAP. And then, you know me now, dog. Holla at me. You know what I'm saying? Holla at me. Let's go.
Co-sign on that. I've gotten the song I made, Splash Woman, into a lot of TV shows, movies, because of just, weird opportunities that come up. So stay connected with places like Reverb Nation and follow up. You might have to do a lot of traveling on your own dime. You might have to do a lot of cold emailing and calling. But it's worth it in the long run.
It'll be worth it. And also look at the credits of names. Like when you play a game or if you watch a movie, anybody that does music for any medium, look at the credits of those names. When you look at those names, make sure you have a LinkedIn account. Even if you got to pay for it, get a LinkedIn account so you contact those people directly with your shit. They looking for what you got. Trust me. Cool.
Thank you. We have 5 minutes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. First, I got a comment for Hip Hop Gamer. Thanks a lot for just getting in there and reminding everybody that rappers have already been nerds forever. It's not new.
Love you, bro. I love you saying it. So
anything special. Alter egos have always been part of rap, and that comes from comic books. But my question is actually to nerdcore rappers. When you get home from tour and you have your piles and your stacks and stacks of cash, and you're swimming in it like Scrooge McDuck, and you're done with that, do you buy a gold-plated NES controller or a solid gold 24-karat 27 die? Thank you.
I actually
dropping the mic.
I no longer Scrooge McDuck with the tour money because it gives you a staph infection. I stop at banks along the way and deposit it. That's my advice.
That's the old school D&D gamer in you.
I go with the NES controller, definitely. I'm an NES guy. Thank you so much, Frank.
I had a question about I'm sorry. It's so cool. You're one of my favorites. I'm a little flustered.
Wow.
Don't be flustered.
Have any of you guys been approached by game developers to do the soundtrack for in respect of how Pharrell did the soundtrack for Despicable Me, how he did the orchestration for all of that? Have you guys been approached by anybody? And as a tag on to that, what soundtrack would you guys like to work on video game, upcoming or
Oh shit! I love that question.
I've had some songs in games. I've never been approached to do like the scoring for a whole game. My keyboard Gabi did the scoring for a game called Word Realms, and he wants to do lots more of those, but he doesn't know how to. He doesn't know how to network and get it all figured out. I try to help him, but I don't know either, so I'm not helping.
Yeah, it can be difficult and a little daunting.
I would love to get approached to do that. I think that people are always looking for scores for video games and not so much like a bunch of music with lyrics, especially not a bunch of music that has lyrics that are so dense that you get distracted from the game.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think as vocal artists, we're probably less likely to get a scoring job like that. But I've done some songs, like some in-credit songs, as like a hip-hop gamer for a few mobile games. There was this game, the first one I did was this game called Caster, like 4 or 5 years ago on an iPhone, and it was pretty fun. And I've done a few since then with indie stuff. So yeah, I would love to do that. Like, I feel like I would like to get the opportunity to score something like an RPG, just to be able to kind of flex my chops. But I know a bunch of composers, and they all tell me like, you have to create a project to let people know that you're into doing that. So make an instrumental project. So that's what I'm working on now. So you guys get the first scoop that hopefully by maybe beginning of next year, I'm going to release something all composition album of my own with no lyrics on it that I think would be a good theme music for RPG. I've been playing a lot of Bravely Default, and so I really like that game, and so that gave me a lot of inspiration. So
me personally, real quick, it'll be God of War that I would score, and I know a lot of people that play violin and do all types of shit. I'll get together all of them, add a little hip hop flavor to it, and just take different jazz, all types of different stuff, put it together, it'll be a ill hip hop project. And when you kill somebody, in God of War, you know that it was inspired by the way I did that music.
There's a composer, I make beats and stuff as well. One of my things I would have loved to do.
Get this card. Yo,
you got a card?
Eric, put that card for me, please. It's gonna be Eric Burns Coleman. This is my dude. He make the clothes. He actually make him out getting clothes. You need to holler at this dude right here. So he's the truth.
What's that, sir?
One of the games I would have dreamed to do is PS2 game, State of Emergency, that Rockstar did.
Oh yeah, that was a fun game.
Oh shit, I love that.
Yeah,
cool, man. Let's stay in touch. I want to chat with you before we leave too. So thank you. We are over time, but let's get these two really quickly before we go.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's good, baby?
I just want to add one thing real quick. I know you're a long time, but in 2010 at E3, Eminem actually did a concert. Activision held like a huge concert. Usher was there. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember that.
I was there with the dual
I think that was my first E3 2010. Yeah, I remember that. Activision was on my list a lot, and they could be like, and I mean, I give them a lot of crap for what they do, like Call of Duty and all that stuff, but they're doing a lot for bringing hip hop into the mainstream. So but it would have been an all Activision list. But thank you for that.
No doubt. And I have a question for Frontalot, because I seen you weren't getting many questions, and then one popped in my head. What was the moment you decided to reveal your identity, and did you ever have a moment when you regretted it, or did you ever have a moment when you were like, I'm not going to do it? And can you tell us a little bit?
I just wasn't going to, and then the press started covering Nerdcore, and the press does not like covering things that appear to be snide pranks. Like, this kid does not seem to be a real person. So then they look, then they do research, and they're like, I hear that your name's Damien Hess, and then I freaked out. All right, here's a photograph of me. I don't know, it must have been like 2002 or 3.
Did you ever have a moment where you were like, oh, I'm not going to tell them?
Oh, I regretted it immediately. Still.
Alright, thank you. And one last thing. Hip-hop, do you have any more hints that you can give us about how hip-hop and gaming can come together from your Cloud 97 experience? Like any little teasers? And I'm out. Thank you.
Alright, cool, no problem. Well, honestly, there's something definitely in the works, and when I mentioned Shade 45 and Status Collector, the show-off show, we got a project that we trying to put together called There's Levels to This Shit. So we trying to utilize different rappers and different entertainers as levels to get to the boss. So when you think of Platinum, when you think of Slaughterhouse, who's the boss? You know what I'm saying? Who does Slaughterhouse lead to overall? Who runs Shady? Alright then, so stay tuned.
Nice.
Greetings, guys.
You have the last question, make it good.
Well, actually, I'm a rapper and also beatmaker and label of video game music and hip hop, and I'd like to spit something really quickly for you.
Hell yes!
Do it! And that vibe, something beaming through my eyes. Then I noticed that the sky was something orange on the rise. Grabbed some coffee from the kitchen. Now I start to realize that it's vigilante time and all the fun is in the night. Head upstairs in my wardrobe, digitizing with the strong bro. All of the models and layers, I was playing close on solo. Back in the back with all my clothes. All the star walking, you baby notes. Telekinetic, I'm tripping up both. Thinking in the Cadillac, Idaho. I blast off. Send sales, no cast off. Rocket chips and gas off. Man, I get that rap gold, all that soul in my nice flow. Living in the air like flag posts, like state codes and Tony Post and all black clothes. And vigilante, boss dog, man scary, Batman, Dark Knight, Matt Black, let me in. Reason to feel like Andre, in the streets of Sandra. Sun's up, night's over. Like to keep my sanctuary. I'm vigilante. Spider-Man, where's man? Jane walks, he was talking, man, that nigga June talking. For little skill, that's there we go. Let
me tell you something right now. You know, BET, they have a cypher every year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm partnered with 50 Cent. It's 59. So my man said, Thriller, he got this new joint called 16 or Better. I was actually on those little scenes. So listen, 16 or Better, you know, I really think you would be a good fit for that. So I got your card now. We're both trying to make that happen. Come to New York, baby. Let's get it done. I'm done, dog. That's it, baby.
Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll be over here doing away some posters and stuff. Because I like to carry things. And again, make sure you get a flyer about Monday night's show.